Let me invite you kindly to this innovative one more session in this wonderful precision medicine forum that we are holding this year in 2025 in Riga. This session is dedicated for insights into the existing and also in the future empowering performances of radiopharmaceutical innovations. So welcome everyone. And this session will be for about 90 minutes, and we will hear expert opinions of where we are going from the different countries and different experiences. This will be multidisciplinary talks, which will be followed by panel discussion. And I will probably start the topic with understanding that those empowering radiopharmaceutical innovations have a different well-known name in the medical field. We call them radioligand therapies. And they are currently quite rapidly reshaping our oncology and also, hopefully, patient outcomes across the global range. The accessibility is expanding, and also the research and possibilities are expanding. And we probably should not only be the witnesses of that, but take an active part in that stream. We want to dedicate this session for the radioligand therapy implementation into the care pathways, and we will share our experiences today. And let me introduce the first speaker who will give an insight from the research perspective point of view. The speaker is Edgars Mamis. He comes from Riga, Latvia, and currently is an active researcher at the CERN in Switzerland and also represents the University of Latvia. He's a radiochemist. So he will speak about the future promises of theranostics in nuclear medicine. So Edgars will join us from the online. Hi, Edgars. We cannot hear you. Maybe you can. We cannot hear you. Microphone.
Just a second. Let's try.
Now we hear you, but very seldom.
What about this? Is it better, or is it a lot of background noise?
Mēs dzirdam, ka viņš kaut kur runā, bet tas neskan zālē. Kaut kas ar mikrofonu.
Again, I don't know. It should be rather fine.
We can hear you a little bit, but there is some
I can speak closer and just
local.
give the slides. It will be easier to just take a look. No?
Yeah. Edgar, give a second. Ko mēs darām? Edgar, parunā.
Is it better now? No, still not good.
Oh, tagad ir. Paldies. Okay, here we go.
Perfect. So let me just share my slides. So first of all, and how actually my work can benefit to the total aim of the radionuclide and radioligand therapy. So to begin with, let's start with some history, as we always do. So about 120 years back, it was already foreseen that radioactive isotopes or radioligands could be used for cancer treatment, and this was predicted by Marie Curie, which eventually led to discovery of the radium radon needles that are, I think, still very well known up to today. But due to lack of knowledge about these radioactive isotopes, the radium was afterwards put in all sorts of weird places. And only after the gained knowledge of the radiotoxicity, people started to be much more cautious. And I can say that up to nowadays, this base knowledge and this carefulness has become much more advanced. So what actually is radiopharmaceutical? In simple words, I like to describe it as a radioactive drug. And it is what it stands for. So it's like a drug that's attached to a radioactive isotope. So a good analogy for me is a car with a trolley that just carries the radioactive isotope where it's needed. Either it's for diagnostic purposes, so it would mean it would go into a little bit nuclear physics, so it would give out a positron or a gamma ray, or it can be used actually for treatment. So to, let's say, burn this cancer cell from within to damage these DNA structures. And then you would use a much more known beta minus particle, or we know it as an electron or an alpha particle. And if we're careful and smart enough, we can combine these two different isotopes, or let's say use one after another to go into theranostics. So it's a much more precise, much more targeted therapy approach and treatment approach for cancer patients. So just to give an extent how we can, give an understanding how we can do this, I take an example of FDG that you might very well know. So the aim here is to get the fluorine inside the molecule. So this is a job for chemists and physicists. But the normal routine production starts with the preparation of the chemicals. So there's nothing radioactive still in the vicinity. Then, of course, the operator prepares everything in a hot cell because we deal with very high radioactive environment. Then we go into the radionuclide production. This can be done outside, but normally this is done in a cyclotron center or cyclotron, any kind of particle accelerator. Then we're shielded by these lead shielding, or what we call the hot cells. We do the synthesis inside, and this is automated. And still, before even injecting into a patient, we carry out quality control of the product, so that whether it's safe for the injection, whether it meets the requirements. Once this is done, we're ready to send the package to the recipient. But there's so many radioactive isotopes, so how to choose the correct one? There's some guidelines of what we want to achieve. And let's say we pinpoint, we need certain isotope, but there's so much to choose from, and there's chemical ways to separate the isotopes, and there's a physical way, and the physical way is where I carry out my research at the moment. So this would be mass separation at CERN Medicis. This is a way how we can get two same element isotopes separated from one another. Let's say we want to treat a patient with actinium-225. Nowadays, the production methods usually involve co-production of actinium-227, which is a no-go for nuclear medicine. So we can use this technology where we first produce the isotopes in a bulk material. It can be protons or any accelerated particle. A mixture of isotopes is produced, and our job is then to separate them out. So we do this by evaporating these isotopes. So we create radioactive vapor at 2000 degrees. We can ionize these isotopes and then send into accelerator with some electrostatic, let's say, beam tuning possibilities. Then this beam travels into a magnet. Of course, CERN loves its magnets. It travels into a magnet, and we can pinpoint only single isotopic mass and collect this in a foil that can be sent to recipients in research and clinical settings. So one of good examples for this, and I like to point this out because this is a trend that not only in Europe, but also in the world. So people more and more want to use alpha emitting particles for treatment of cancer cells. So one example, I invite you to read the work of Dr. Pratishvili about actinium-225, where we see that usual lutetium doesn't impact or treat the patient anymore. And now switching to a different isotope, we can make the cancer cells to respond and even damage them. Another good example is lead-212. Again, the same kind of research center. Another good example, of course, because of Switzerland, and this was also found in Switzerland, is the terbium sisters. So one single chemical element can hold all the needed specifications of either treatment or diagnostics with a different kind of application, whether it's also electrons or just diagnostic properties. And a good example, and I leave you this with as my last slide, CERN medicines has recently been approved also that we would be able to supply isotopes for clinical trials, and Samarium-153 is, let's say, our pilot project for this. So I invite you to read a little bit more on this as well. Usually it was used just as a palliation treatment, but with the possibility of this mass separation of the new technologies, we can give a second breathing room for these kind of isotopes. I believe there's more to come in the future, and let's hope we can advance this. So we're at the start of something new. Thank you very much. And I wish you all a pleasant session afterwards.
So thank you, Edgars. I hope you will be able to stay online. We will continue with the next speakers, and I hope you will also join us in our panel discussion. So after learning how the radioligands are developed and what is the role of really precise work of radiochemists and also the physics basics around that, I think we need to move into the clinical part. So it is a great honor for me to invite the next speaker. This is Professor Donatas Vajauskas. He comes from Lithuania, Kaunas, and he's a professor in Lithuanian University of Health Sciences and also chief of radiology clinic there. So please, Donatas, the floor is yours. He will give a talk on infrastructure and lessons that has been learned here in the neighborhood. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Maja. Ladies and gentlemen, big pleasure here to join you at this forum. My topic today is talk about the nuclear medicine infrastructure and what lessons have we learned. However, I'm not going to teach you, so don't worry. So basically, it is more like storytelling, and this is my disclosures. And the story, as we saw it, it all began about the need. And when you jump into such a projects, you always need to have a cause. Why are you heading in this direction? And the cause was quite obvious for us as we are here in the European statistics. Not so nice position. At least we are first. Okay. And again, here. So for us it was clear that we need to do something. And as we saw it in our clinical routine, not only clinical routine, the scientific area as well, very important here, but the clinical routine was the most important part for our patients. And we truly understand that we're not benefiting from our patients. We need to change something and to do it better, as we see in other Western European countries do. So therefore, we aim for this big project, I could say. And if you ask about the lessons, so the first lesson is you have to have a vision. If you have a vision, now you need to decide in which steps you're going to reach the vision. And I thought about a few steps. First step is, of course, the partners. What partners do you choose to go to reach this vision? Of course, to see this vision, it's not just the year that you reach it. You need to go up front like 10 years because it's the structure which is very expensive, and you need to last long. And of course, team and dedication. You have to have dedication to such a project. So about the team, yes, we are lucky. We have the team. We had a team who also understood the need of these projects, and Kaunas clinics, our university hospital, together with the Lithuanian Health Science University, with the combined forces, they aimed at this vision to have a nice nuclear medicine infrastructure and to include into this infrastructure the cyclotron infrastructure. Therefore, I'm going to talk first of all about the cyclotron infrastructure. And here, of course, the vision starts on what are you dreaming about? Are you dreaming about to have on-site production? What kind of on-site production? What are capacities? Therefore, you need to select the proper equipment and try to decide what kind of pharmaceuticals or what kind of isotopes for the beginning you would like to produce, looking at the experience which is building up in the Europe, in the western part. And of course, when you have the radioisotopes, next step, what are you going to synthesize? And are you going to synthesize just few radiopharmaceuticals, which could be called like bread and butter, and to work internally, or you need something more ambitious, and maybe you need more to cover your country, as in our case. So there you have to increase the quality of your premises, like GMP grade laboratories, not only for the production, but also you have to have proper quality control. And as I told you, we were not looking at the beginning of this project, we're not only looking for the bread and butter, we were thinking bigger. Therefore, this is not a full list that we are aiming to. And I don't think that it is possible to name the full list because so many new pharmaceuticals appear in the market, appear in the research field. And yes, we have these plans to go beyond the bread and butter. And of course, if you have these pharmaceuticals, how are you going to use it? And for that, of course, you need the scanning machinery, the usage of these pharmaceuticals, where it could happen, where can you inject the patient and scan the patient. So if you think that this is it, so no again. We are a university hospital, we have university, so we have the beginning of the infrastructure where we have the bench of the scientist, and how can we transfer that science to the patient bed. For that, we need the preclinical part, and we need to integrate the preclinical part as well to this infrastructure to have this nice flow from the bench to the bed. It's called translational medicine, one new word. And of course, if you have diagnostics, such advanced diagnostics, it's like jumping on one foot if you do not have the therapeutic area. Because right now we have another word which is also very important, and it's called theranostics. It's a combination of therapy and diagnostics. So again, planning the theranostics, not stopping there by usage of the commercially available theranostics pharmaceuticals, but thinking about the scientific part. You need to have the laboratory to proceed with the production of the novel theranostics agents. And of course, when you have everything, all the vision in place, you need to go for the team, because without a team, it doesn't happen nothing. And team dedication to this work is crucial here, because these are our cyclotron operators, medicine physicists, engineer. They're not taking care just about the machinery, how to run the machine. No, they're taking care of all the building, all the HVAC system, all the radioactivity measurements. They take off everything. And these people really do have this nice understanding. We're joking internally that could we do the better? Yes, next project could be better. And we are gaining this knowledge. But as you have a team, we have another problem, education. We do not have cyclotron operators education in Lithuania. So what to do? We need to go for a training for such a people. And the training could happen only in the Western centers, in the working centers, where they can gain experience, where they can gain the knowledge. Completely the same situation is with the radiopharmacy. At least at the beginning, we could think that, okay, we might have pharmacists or chemists on site, but it's not the same. It's not the same because we have this on addition radioactivity, which gives a very interesting approach to the routine work. And again, we have to train those people how to manage, how to manipulate with all this radioactivity. Edgars told us that it's happening automatically. Yes, but not everything. You have to run the quality tests. It means that you have to get the radioactive source. You have to deal with it. You do not want to contaminate your environment. So many questions, and all these questions could be addressed only by training. So we have done a lot of investment into our team members, and this investment benefited us because their knowledge came back and they helped us with this project, with the design of the facilities, with the ideas, how to do it better, how to arrange it better. And the same situation is, again, with the preclinical part. As we are life science university, it was not a problem for us because straightforward, we have the team of the veterinarians who also joined our team here, because our patients here is not human anymore. These are small animals, as in our case, mouses, rats, and the specificity of the work done here is also very, very different from what's happening. What could I say about the learning? You need a lot of support here. Not only internally support, but look for the literature. And here you have plenty of available sources at EAA, at ENM. You can go through all these available materials. And as EAA gives you a bit basic understanding on your project, so ENM gives you a bit more updated information. So this is very important not to forget. And of course, the most updated information always comes from the foreign centers and foreign experts who could help you with such a projects. And we really appreciate this opportunity to have our team trained in foreign centers, and of course experts which visited our centers with advice, looking at our specificity, also gives a very nice impact. And try to not forget local experts. If you're heading towards the GMP part, it's like a production, like a pharmacy production. You have some national specificities how to do it. And we heard many stories while we were in this project, how people managed to try to open the factory, and they have to rebuild half of the factory to fit into GMP licensing. So for us, we have to move just 2 walls. So it was by surprise, very small mistakes. And of course, if you're going for the therapy, what is next? The next is join forces with the industry here. Because, okay, you have the facilities, you can produce that therapy, might be as well, but the production for the therapy comes in such amounts, we are foreseeing that it will come in such amounts, that your small center won't be able to fulfill all the needs. Or if you do have this capacity to fulfill all the needs, you have another problem. You don't have time to do the research here. So if you need a balance between the clinical routine and to have the science, because the science will drive this field further, and it's a very interesting field, you have to this nice combination. And today, yes, we have commercially available 2 compounds, which could be used in clinical setting, but again, these are just the closest to the registration other compounds and many directions, not only in the prostate cancer, but we can go with the breast cancer, we can go with the gliomas, we can go with the kidney cancer, with the therapy. And this is, try to remember theranostics. So it's very important because all of these therapeutical agents, they have their diagnostical pair. So if you are able to perform creating diagnostic pair, then you need that therapeutical pair as well to proceed in the precision medicine with your patients. So for the conclusions that we have learned, of course, trusted partners we did have, and this was very important. We believe that we saw these 10 years up front. Actually, I could say that in 2 years I will change my opinion. I think that we'll have like foreseen at least 5, not more, because it's everything happening so fast. The team, we have very nice, dedicated team, young persons willing to work in that direction, and in addition, experts. They give us many insights how to do it better from their knowledge, from their expertise. Therefore, we were able to fulfill all our vision, let's say, requirements, and to get our center running. So thank you all. Thank you.
For a moment, I hope Donatas will also join us in a panel discussion, because I think there is quite a lot to discuss after seeing the development, which every time I hear Donatas speaking, there is really huge steps forward. So thank you for this insight. And now I will invite the Antra Bērziņa. She is the most knowledgeable, our oncology radiologist in Latvia, and she works in Riga East University Hospital in Therapeutic Radiology and Medical Physics Clinic. Please, Antra, the floor is yours about status quo where we are currently in Latvia. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, thank you, organizers, for invitation. And actually, what can I say about real status of nuclear medicine in Latvia? I am green with envy, listening to Lithuanian colleagues. They have bread and butter, but I think we have only bread and very thin slice. Okay, let's start. Okay, I think we have quite good nuclear medicine equipment in Latvia. You can see it is for diagnostic, but we have only one nuclear medicine therapy unit with 3 doctors at the moment working in nuclear medicine therapy. You can see we in Riga East Clinical University Hospital have a very new one, very good CZT SPECT CT gamma camera. One conventional SPECT CT camera, we can do quite good diagnostic procedures, but of course we don't have PET CT machines, but we would like to have it. Yeah? And it is only one nuclear medicine therapy unit in our hospital with 14 therapy beds. In Stradins Clinical University, they have 2 conventional SPECT CT cameras and special cardiac CZT camera, but I think this camera does not work at the moment, not yet. Then we have a private medical center with CZT SPECT CT camera and very good quality 2 digital PET CT, and Latvian Maritime Medicine Center with analog PET CT camera. Actually, we have in Latvia even cyclotron, but this cyclotron doesn't work at the moment, and it is only licensing procedure. And what we can do bone scans, myocardial perfusion, renal scan, parasite scans, thyroid, lymph node scans, amyloidosis scan, lung scans, and of course whole body scintigraphy for cancer patients, neuroendocrine tumors, thyroid cancer, and other cancer patients. About PET CT, we have only 18-fluor FD scans or 18-fluor PSMA scan for prostate cancer patients. Of course, we need much more this radiopharmaceutical for PET-CT investigation to do more precise diagnosis for our oncological patients. About therapies, I think we have quite good levels this radioiodine therapy for thyroid cancer patients, and we do also a lot of therapy procedures for benign thyroid diseases. We do 131 iodine MIBG therapies for neuroectodermal tumors such as neuroblastoma, pheochromocytoma, paraganglioma, and sometimes for medullary thyroid cancer. We do 2 to 3 radiofluorotherapy or Xofigo for metastatic prostate cancer, but reimbursed is only therapy for 5 patients per year. It's actually nothing. And we hope to start lutetium dotatate or Lutathera therapy maybe in next year, maybe in December, to treat our GEP-NET patients. If we talk about precision medicine, nuclear medicine can capture many hallmarks of the disease, participating to more precise treatment. A strong collaboration with many actors. You heard from previous lecturer, we need radiochemists, physics engineers, nurses, technologists, biologists, and pharmacologists. It is not so easy. It is not a chemotherapy pill. We can do this therapy. We need big team. So, only one clinical example. It is neuroendocrine tumor patients, the same diagnosis, but quite different. Because metastasis, it's sometimes very different of expression of somatostatin receptor on in differentiation. You can see dotatate PET and FDG PET for the same patients. And to choose right therapy for this patient, maybe we have to do both investigations, because you see the other one, this patient is more suitable for Lutathera therapy than the other one with more positive FDG PET lesions. What next? Actually, if we look in the future and what is happening in other world, we see then there are many than 200 trials for diagnostic procedure, for therapy procedure. But for us, it is very difficult to participate in this treatment because we don't have production of this radiopharmaceutical. And for example, we received proposal to participate in trial for prostate cancer patient with terbium PSMA, but sorry, we don't have control group with lutetium PSMA. We even didn't start lutetium PSMA in Latvia. And you can see then what we need. We need supply, we need production or supply, and it's all is problem to do in the maybe most higher level therapy and diagnostic procedures. And maybe even for lutetium dotatate and for lutetium PSMA therapy, we are ready, we can do it, but problem is reimbursement from side of our healthcare system. Thank you for your attention.
So I think it has been a really nice and comprehensive overview of what are the current insights, not only in where we are, but also into the future, but also with a critical view on the challenges that we need to address probably today in order to move into that future directions. So I really want to invite currently the speakers. So please, Professor Donatas Vajauskas and Dr.Antra Bērziņa, may I ask you to take the seats at the table. And let me now invite the other panel discussion experts into the front. So first, Professor Haralds Plaudis. He's a chairman of board and board member of Riga East Clinical University Hospital. He's a surgeon by the profession, and thank you for joining us in this panel discussion. So, Elina Siviņa, she is also assistant professor and associated professor, head of solid tumor systemic treatment clinic in Riga East Clinical University Hospital. Her specialty is oncologist. Thank you so much. And please, Associated Professor Egils Vjaters, please, he is an urologist, head of urology center in Stradins Clinical University Hospital. He's leading researcher in the Institute of Oncology and Molecular Genetics, please.
There are no places for everybody.
There are. As I said, we could have taken the seats at the table, no problem. So, there are more people to join us today, and let me invite, I think, a very important participant of this panel, Edgars. He's a board member of patient organization in Onco-Alliance for Men's Health Movement, Movember Latvia Foundation. Thank you so much for finding the time to join us today. And not less important, the representative of Ministry of Health of the Republic of Latvia, senior expert Anna Timofeyeva. Please join us in the panel discussion. Thank you so much. So, I will stay somewhere around here, but please use the microphones that you have in front of you, and maybe I will start to bring us into the discussion that have started, and I think some thoughts of the talks that we already heard. One thing is to have a great innovations, the other thing is to really implement them, and we heard about the great team, that is behind great works. There is always a great team. So maybe I will start with the healthcare ministry this time, as a team building structure in a way that I also want to highlight. Maybe we can move forward a little bit. May I ask my presentation of that 4? I will place one slide. This we have heard a little bit, but just want to show those who understand in Latvian, it's okay, but the idea is that this slide represents current healthcare plan that could address the topic that we are discussing today. So what is written there is not that important on running the cyclotron and developing the radionuclide production and to foster the accessibility. The question that I want to address is that we have written a good plan. It is from 25 till 27, which means we are here now in a very good, I think, team to discuss how we can really make a reality the plan that we have written with a possible good deadline 2027. May I ask your insights of today's discussion on where we are? Can we reach what we have planned?
First of all, I would like to inform you that we have prepared this plan, but taking into account financial questions, we have prepared a new version of this plan, and yesterday we sent this plan to Ministry of Financial Questions, and we are waiting their opinion. So in next week, the 16th October is the deadline that, and we would like to hear what they will say to us.
Okay, thank you. So we still have a hope. We just need to convince the finances that it makes sense. And here I want to ask our patient organization representative, as a patient opinion on how you see about accessibility of the treatments that you are having now. You are knowledgeable. Also today you heard there is much more possibilities. What do you find really good, and what do you find as a problem to solve or challenges to overcome that we need you in a team, because without your input we are not able to do it right? May I ask?
It's difficult to answer to your question. As mentioned Anna before, the oncology plan 2025-2027 yet is not approved. So it's very low chance that it will be improved. That's additional money for next year, for 2026, and some hopes is for 2027. And all of us know that in each year more and more we have more and more oncology patients who need this support from government side. Some clinical tests is available just only in private way. I know how important is, let's say, PET side or nuclear medicine side for patients to go on the right way and to survive for cancer. Yeah. And if the plan is not improved, and we are more and more peoples, so that means less and less peoples will receive this support from state. In this moment, it's very important.
Thank you so much for your insight, and I think there are main two groups of the therapies that are currently quite running fast, and I think also you will agree that this is probably also your experience in neuroendocrine tumors and also in the prostate, right? So as maybe this time I will jump a little bit over to the urology part, because the prostate is large numbers of the patients in theory. So if we have already a good established experiences in neighboring countries, maybe in a limited financial resource situation, we need to fuse our forces together and look for the best financial feasible scenarios, or maybe focus or specialize some therapy provisions in a specific centers, rather than doing in one center everything. Maybe we should focus on something. What is your experience, Professor Egils-Viaters, about the patient, what they are demanding, what we can offer, how you are overcoming, because you want to provide the best treatment for them, right?
Yes, thank you. Of course we want, and the patients want, and for example, the cornerstone of nowadays of prostate cancer treatment is diagnostic with PET-CT, and also we use PET-CT to detect the treatments, successful treatment with PET-CT, and I just wondering that that we have 3 PET-CT units in Latvia, and they all belong to private medical centers. Of course, I'm not against private medical centers, but it's strange that the university hospitals has not any of this unit, and I just thinking that this PET-CT comes very fast in everyday life and everyday treatment for the patients. And the same will be with these radioligands. And we have now 2 options for treatment of castrate-resistant prostate cancer, but As you know, there are more than 200 trials about radioligand treatment in many organs, and they will come very fast. And as we know, in our country, we have only one dedicated department for the radio treatment, and its actually its capacity is full right now. And it will be more and more patients that...
How many you estimate? Meaning, Antra, for example, said currently 14 beds, yeah? So the estimation, according to the population and incidence of the prostate cancer, how many, like this incoming large numbers would be rising if you look critically at the possibilities? Or what does that mean for you if we would open that gate and yes, we start those therapies which are well deserved?
Actually, for lutetium PSMA patients, we don't need very long stay in our department. I think they need only 2-3 days approximately. If we compare with radioiodine, it is much more, till 7 days. Yeah, it is of the energy of this isotope. Depend on the energy of these isotopes. But of course it would be nice to have one more therapy department, yeah, because I think we need one more department then, yeah. Or for example, for esophageal patient in European clinics, they do this in outpatient basis, but we don't have cabinets for outpatient treatment, yeah.
I have changed one slide in a background. This is a publication from the Lancet in 2024 about the global patients who would be eligible for this lutetium PSMA therapy that we were discussing with Antra now. So we are in a dark green area, which is, not maybe that large numbers, and it is not a pandemic type of therapies, so we are not probably speaking about the hundreds or thousands of beds. We don't need a hospital yet, but we definitely need a therapy center where it could be done, and in order not to delay the treatment for other patients, because the count of the beds are equal to the patients who are waiting for the therapy. So that should be really aligned in a good way, of course. Any comments, maybe Donatas from your center? Or yeah, sorry, yeah.
One more comment. If we talk about this PET-CT, we hope maybe to have next year possibility to dotate PETs, but not with gallium, but with cuprum. Yeah, yeah. Maybe. Yeah. You have to take it in account, maybe not gallium, but cuprum. It is a little bit cheaper, and it is the supply is easier. Possible, yeah. Easier. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Donatas, maybe you have comment about your approach to that, understanding that there will be bigger flow coming, and how you feel. You have already been more in that.
Just the declaration, first of all. I'm a doctor, so I'm more interested in the patient health, not about the economics. But as I told you before, everything is changing so rapidly, so I could say that this slide has 2 drawbacks, one of which they do not take into account the bottleneck which is happening right now, because we have many patients who could fit straight into this therapy due to the not availability of the therapy before. And the second bottleneck is new indications upcoming, new composition of therapies, combination of therapies. So this slide is already wrong. We will have much more of these patients.
So I want to go back once more. So this is what could be estimated. This is reality, but it's in 2024. I just want to highlight that in Scandinavia, in Poland, in Belgium, in France, in Italy, and also already rather some years in Estonia, there is established radio therapy with lutetium dotatate for somatostatin receptor, and also there is established, and hopefully also the next year, we will have some chance for Latvia as well for prostate, but this is just one radionuclide of lutetium, but there is a very promising new radio tracers coming in, which are actinium, as mentioned by Edgars. I don't know if he still hears us. It's samarium, it's terbium, it's scandium, it's of course the copper, and so it's very important to have a portfolio and to understand the best also logistics pathway. And here I want to also emphasize, maybe for economics and healthcare ministry, that I don't know, maybe the Donatas will agree with me, but it's somehow when you cook at home, it is a bit cheaper, right? than going into the Michelin restaurant.
Yes, I already addressed this issue, and this is not just a Latvian problem, Lithuanian problem, it's global. Yes, we can cook at home, but what about the capacity? Will you have the right capacity for that? And if you do have right capacity to cook at home and cover all your indication patients, you won't have capacity to go for the scientific work. So you have to have a balance here. And without industry here is no-go, it's obviously no-go.
Yes, thank you so much. So I will move a little bit further on into this somatostatin receptor patients, which is a neuroendocrine tumor group. We have two experts, so surgeon who works with that patient group and also oncologist who works with that patient group. This is a really, Professor Plaudis, this is a narrow field. So we are talking about maybe not large numbers currently, yeah? But we are dealing in a rather old style currently because we are not providing these novel therapies yet, yeah? So do we send them somewhere? What does that mean for the patient? What does that mean for the doctor? Because they are really chronic oncology patients that you need to deal with them for years.
Yeah, well, thank you for this question, and I think it's very good that we are having this discussion and conversation because, well, I was listening to the presentations and I was thinking, wow, we are speaking about some kind of innovations, some kind of novelties that nobody knows, but actually those treatment options and diagnostic options, these are quite old things, and we all know about this. Well, yes, and I think we should always, nevertheless, we are like on the treatment side as a doctors or as administrators, we have to look usually and mostly from the patient perspective and from the patient pathway. And at the moment, I don't understand why we are in the scenario of very scarce resources. We are not like moving everything into the one place and then looking for the centers of excellency, but we are somehow developing a lot of things outside because I think all the expertise should be in one place. Yes, we have those patients. Of course, we try to help them as much as it is possible. And then we, together with medical oncologists and radiotherapists, well, this patient has liver metastasis. Well, the patient is eligible for lutetium therapy. So what to do? And of course, we know that we have our friends Lithuanians and Estonians, and then we communicate with them. We also communicate with our Nordic colleagues, and we try to send patients there. But this is quite difficult, and every day, every hour for the patient matters. So this is the case. I really look forward for this new cyclotron that will be in Latvia. And I also am really looking forward for the next year, and I hope that this lutetium therapy will be available in Latvia. As we do understand that speaking about the resources and also human resources, we should not forget about those as well, because if we have patients for lutetium therapy, this is on top of what we are already doing. And as Dr. Bērziņa said, we have only 3 doctors that work with those specific kinds of therapies and only 14 beds. So yes, from the intellectual part, we are ready. We know all the guidelines, we know all the patient pathways, but there are some dead ends at the moment.
Maybe some comment from oncology point of view for that patient group. What does that mean for us, and how we could build it together for... We need to start somewhere. We don't need to address the thousands of people immediately. We need to establish the pathways, the scenarios, the infrastructure which is built on less numbers, and then we can expand when we know that there is a proof of concept. How do you see that multidisciplinary team? I also will change the slide here about those roundtable discussions which are happening. This is a slide taken from a Belgium project example when they rather quickly sat at the round table together and was writing, it is a publicly available radioligand therapy plan of multi-stakeholder at the table, almost like here, a bit more expanded.
Yes, thank you for your question. I can say that from this practical clinical point of view, we have these patients with the neuroendocrine tumors, and previously, in previous years, these patients could get this therapy abroad in different countries, and this treatment was reimbursed with a special S form for these patients, but unfortunately, since this year, this treatment is not reimbursed, and this treatment is possible only if the patients pay from pocket. So we are now waiting for the reimbursement of lutetium treatment, and now we also started to prepare these patient pathways, and actually we know at this point what to do. We have identified these patients, and also we have this practical patient pathway, how to send them to the treatment, so we are ready. Only the next step is when we can start, because we have real patients to start with this treatment.
I have some vague idea, at least, that there is a hope, maybe even the first patient, one or maybe few, may receive this treatment hopefully till the end of this year. So that should be a very positive move forward. In a worst case scenario, the beginning of the next year, and that is really thanks to the very active collaboration also with radiopharmaceutical companies who are doing a lot of also the bureaucratic and paperwork that is around the implementation of those therapies. So maybe we can go around a little bit back to the healthcare ministry in this. One thing is when we only speak about the money, but we can make the process easier to make the registrations faster if we know that it is established. We know we need it. The arena is ready. The patients need it. So not to make a bottleneck in a bureaucracy, in a legislative, in our regulations, in our registrations. How we can be a part of something European, something more broader, rather than making a strict only our own regulations that is making an extra barriers for access to that therapy.
I think that this is a discutable question because the main problem here is the money from the state budget. And if we have money, then we can help our patients. But if we have other problems, then we can't solve these problems with the money for pharmaceuticals. So to solve this problem, we should speak together. Maybe the Ministry of Health can help to make a roundtable discussions, and we can solve this problem in right way.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's a really good idea to maybe not only to discuss things, but to make a really plan with the deadlines that we are really trying to fulfill. Because there is no point in doing the working groups and build the plans that are not met at their time point. So the point would be to, yes, we make deadlines, and all the stakeholders at the table are trying to do their best to achieve that deadline. So how you feel as a patient representative in those working groups? I believe you have attended many already. Do you feel that we could do something different from your perspective? What is missing, or maybe we are already on the right track, we just need something a little to add?
I would like to say that we are on the right track, but the main question is money available. We have a lot of good plans which are just only on paper. And I go back to the same oncology plan. Mm-hmm. It was 4 sessions during the springtime to create this oncology plan 25-27. Mm-hmm. Currently it's end of 25, so 1 year is missed. And each day for oncology patients, not for all, but for many or less, each day counts their lives. No, each day someone is dying because no money, no state covered clinic, they are not approached the state covered cleaning tests. They don't have the drugs to survive because they are not government covered or not approved. Mm-hmm. So that's the main reason. Each patient is dreaming about new possibilities, new drugs, and new availability to survive. But for some of them, the dreams is still just only the dreams.
Thank you. And I have also a little bit want to come back to this multi-stakeholder roundtable part. I am also a doctor, not an economist. I'm a radiologist, and in our country, in Latvia, we are under the one roof. Under radiology is also nuclear medicine. It is not separated as a specialty. It is different in different countries, but nevertheless, it requires personnel. It requires time for new experts to be developed. Not only doctors, but as mentioned by Antra, different other really expert specialists in radiophysics, in radiochemistry, in radiopharmacy, to really provide the best and pure result and the best result for the patient. And understanding that innovation always is connected with the science, and we actually had some scientific part in that discussion, that it is like a wheel. The science is dropping the innovations, which becomes the clinical reality, and the clinical reality is fostering the next turn of the science. So it's a wheel that is turning. Maybe Professor Plaudis, you can mention on that workforce and this educational pathway, because you are currently representing a really large healthcare infrastructure, one of the largest and one of the most dedicated for oncology. It takes years, and what does that mean? You can take it on your shoulders as a hospital administrator and find the resources on your end, or it is still coming the ball back to the field in the healthcare ministry. So how to do it from your perspective?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. Because this is the question that is always on the table, and I think it will always be on the table. And at the moment, I would surely say that it's even not question about the money. Well, because we don't have specialists. And we are having discussions, I would say, on every month's basis related to radiographers, for example. We have our radiology department and we have our radiotherapy department, and those people are working only in one because this therapy is so specific at the moment, so you cannot interchange those things. This is quite difficult, and but well, fortunately, I would say this is not only Latvia that is facing this issue. This is the European and also worldwide phenomena, because people are not very willing to enter the medical system. That's tough, yes, yeah. So I don't have precise solution for this, and I could say as the CEO, well, maybe we can, I don't know, pay whatever sum of money, but I don't think that tomorrow I will see 10 new specialists that are, knocking on the door and saying, I'm willing to come into the system. Because, well, it's not only about the money, it's about the innovations, it's about the perspectives, it's about the environment. This is really multifactorial. Well, but to say something good, since already 3 years, we are on the way of becoming the OECI accredited cancer center. And actually that gave us a lot of opportunities. Well, we have new technologies, we have new people, and of course we have extra patient flow as well. So this is, again, the thing that we have to deal with.
Okay. Thank you for that positivity note as well. Any comments from any other of the experts? Please take a microphone. Yeah.
I have one comment about education. I think we have to promote nuclear medicine in all other medicine specialties, in education of urologists, endocrinologists, oncologists, yeah, because it's not enough to teach only nuclear medicine, doctor radiographers. We have to introduce nuclear medicine in all this education system for medicine, all medicine specialists, yeah, because they have to know indications and what possibilities we have for diagnostic, what is the best diagnostic, maybe not skeletal scintigraphy, but maybe PET, and if they did PET, they don't need skeletal scintigraphy, because we see now sometimes it's a very strange way of thinking, yeah, of other specialities. And if we will have demand of urologists, oncologists, yeah, it will be more easier to start this new technology, new therapy methods.
Sure. If there are any comments also from the audience, from the experts, I see that there are different specialists in the audience. Please feel free to raise the hand. We will hand the microphone to you as well. And in the meanwhile, I wanted to ask to Donatas, maybe you mentioned some scientific interest and even the veterinary. We know that veterinary are very rich people, definitely well paid in comparison to the human medicine. It's true. No, that's a joke to make the atmosphere a bit lighter, but the idea would be maybe the influx of the money when we are going those first rather heavy steps forward should come from the research, kind of, maybe we should start with the research part than addressing the whole healthcare oncology challenges.
A nice approach. I wish it could work, but we heard very nice example from Antra that if you do not have basis, the advanced research won't go there. You have to have this basic therapies available, so you can jump one step higher with the research.
Okay, fair. Any comments maybe from the audience? Please feel free to ask. Also, maybe this is a great opportunity to ask to some of the experts. So, for oncology, I have a question regarding those stakeholders. Where do you see yourself? You are an end user of those therapies. You feel like an active participant, or you even think if the oncology is the main target of those therapies, maybe it should be run by oncologists. So how do you feel? Good question.
Very good. Is it for me? Okay, so I think Oncologists, of course, they are the main persons who are managing these patients. And radioligand therapy, this is not the first line or the main treatment. It's meant to be for the patients who are already received one or many lines of drugs. So, of course, these are patients of our patients of medical oncology. And I can comment on this that in our previous practice, in the case when we have new drugs, there is a difference in patient numbers when we are estimating how many patients we will have after the drug will become reimbursed. And the next is, in other hand, the real situations, the number of patients after this reimbursement. And we have two different scenarios. One is that patients are too much and more than we previously estimated, and also there can be situations when we do not have so many patients. And if we are talking about radioligand treatment, if we will not have this infrastructure and human resources, that maybe we will not be possible to treat these patients, all the patients that will have indication for this.
Yeah, that's true. There is always a risk to run into the too much of the flow, and then probably we will need to look more precisely on the indications, not to be overburdened. So let me move one slide a little bit further. It is a little bit busy slide, but it is addressing this workforce training. And there was an interesting data. It is all published as well, but it says the minimum requirements for theranostics competence. And I just highlighted it is minimum 100 procedures per year. So we cannot just work with one group of patients. We need to address different oncologies. We need to address lung, we need to address breast, we need to address prostate, neuroendocrines. We cannot only target our innovations into the one field, right? So also, as we know, when you do it once, it's a great experience. When you do it twice, you start to understand what's it about. So number three, and you need, it is estimated, according to the really experienced centers, they say 100 procedures per year. How many are you doing in Lithuania currently per year for therapy?
We are still looking for the reimbursement for the lutetium-based therapy, so none of these. If you go by numbers, I could say maybe iodine will fit into this number. But this is requirements for training. So it's not that it should happen at your site. It's very important that you will have a site which has these capacities to send your team members there for training. So they could gain this knowledge and bring it back to your country. Antra?
For radioiodine, we have approximately 250 thyroid cancer patient treatments and approximately the same benign diseases. For Xofigo, we have 5 patients. Each patient has 6 cycles of therapy. No, it's approximately for 131 radioiodine IBG, we have till 5 patients per year, not more, because we have not so many patients for this therapy in Latvia.
So it's clear that even if we would need to train a personnel, as also Donata said, we need to outsource. We need to send the personnel be trained somewhere else, because locally we probably cannot provide the full spectrum, and therefore we can still stay on the basis, but we can not be better. So for being better, as everywhere, we need to have a training. And I think this is something that should be kept in mind, that it is not just numbers of estimated residency slots per year, or it is not just how many medical physicists we need or that. It is about understanding that it needs a a plan, a training plan, which comes with the finances. It needs established clear goals that we want to reach within a given time frame. Yeah? These are the few things, and probably, yes, you mentioned the working groups. Maybe I can ask to everyone freely, you can also mention kind of what else we can do. There has been already some good ideas, including veterinaries, but there could be some other ways how to collaborate and to improve. Any additional ideas on what needs to be done? First, we need to sit at the table, that's clear. We need to build something. There has been others. Belgium, the others have written something, so we can start from somewhere, please.
I would like to point on one question. What is very, very crucial is state-organized cancer screening. We should somehow improve that people can go and make their appointments and do these checks, what are free of charge. And the question is very crucial that, for example, who owns the car, we should go every year to check this car and to use this on the ways. But for our health status, we don't have the time to check this. So this is a question, discutable question for every resident of Latvia.
Okay. So maybe Professor Jatter, you have an answer to that, why people do not test themselves in the proper way in a screening. You have any comments maybe about prostate screening? We have a lot of talks on the breast cancer screening, a bit less on prostate screening.
It's very good questions, but we need some 5 hours to answer this. But actually, the good thing is that in Europe there are this program EU Can Screen, and they are what they are doing. They include also the prostate cancer screening, and this prostate cancer screening will be on this risk stratification, because screening what we have in our country, it's not cost effective, and it's should be improved. But what I think about radionuclides, how we can move forward, then it's quite clear that we have the aim, what we need. How many places, how many doctors, and then we need a plan, but not like plan in this oncology, that there are plan without money, but we need strictly plan with money, because if you have the aim without plan, it's only wish.
Thank you so much. Please, you can join us for other additional comments and how to improve. Yes, please. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit about screening from patient side. Yeah, about the screening we can discuss. Of course, but at the same time, if you're talking about, let's say, melanoma, it's quite high screening rate. At the same time, mortality rate is also quite high. Is one thing. If you're talking about prostate cancer screening, during the last year, the rate also quite high. But at the same time, in the mind of a lot of men, still some stigmas. Why they are not going for screening is one thing. Another thing, outside the big cities on countryside, for many people are not, say, they will go to screening, but later on that some clinical tests, I'm not talking about green corridor, yeah. Some clinical tests are not available and not covered by state, by government. And they start to think, why I need to go for screening if I later cannot, if I will not get this support from government, yeah. So it's...
Yeah, it's a matter of attitude and believing in the system. So I think we somehow need all a little bit to have an input in making our community to believe that it can work and believe that it is available for them. Because this tragedy of having a disease is one part, but then to have a feeling that there is a support net that will catch you is a completely different story that is so important that cannot be addressed only by means of money, but it should be clearly delivered into the understandable format.
I just would like to add, sometimes men is calling to me after they visited the doctor, and doctor is advised to go for surgery or something else, especially for surgery, and they ask me what to do. Because some of them just visit the doctor and get the diagnosis from 6 months to a year doing nothing. My answer is very, very easy. You have to follow the doctor and you will see how your grandchildren will grow up. Or you can do nothing and then you will die. It's very easy.
Very easy, yeah. There has been an interesting also in the scientific world, there was another workshops, everyone goes on the workshops, and this was an envision that in upcoming 10 years this radio therapy will become more precise, more personalized, accessible and effective. So that is what Europe is thinking. So if not locally, maybe we should reach out to some of the European organizations, including cancer, radiation, oncology, scientific organizations, and to say that there is inequity in access and that could be addressed by the help of joint, maybe financial resources, and if we can build the buildings with the joint financial resources, maybe we can also build a program and a plan. Yeah, but there is a homework that everyone needs to do, and the first homework, I believe, is to have those stakeholders at the table. And as mentioned also by Donatas, it is not enough that we speak among us. We need external experts who have already made those first steps, and we don't need to invent the bicycle completely from zero. We can learn from their mistakes, and they can give some tips and tricks, and this could be rather helpful. And in the terms of not having enough time and also not to waste the time of the patient lives, it's important that I think it's time to establish it as a goal, maybe, as an outcome also of this panel discussion, to set the first meeting date within this calendar year. Because why not? I'm not saying on Monday. I know it's Friday, but this year should be a good deadline for that. Yeah, we need to start somewhere, and why not this year? It's a good number, 2025. So. We are approaching the last 5 minutes of our discussion. Are there any maybe other comments, any questions from the audience? Okay, if no, then I think it's okay that we also a bit anticipate the panel discussion today. I really want to thank all of the participants, and especially those experts who have found the time to come and share their insights into the current therapy and empowering our radiopharmaceutical innovations to improve the patient care. Because one thing is to think about economy and think about the workflow and workforce, but we, as Professor Vyatar said, we have a clear goal. Yeah, the clear goal is that we need to improve the access, and also improve the pathways and improve our motivation to do that. And for that, I want to thank our speakers, those who really inspired us with the good examples, and it is a great pleasure to be among the friends who think alike. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in this session.